It being 6 o'clock, I'll call to order the November 6th meeting of the Swanzey Planning Board here at Wickham Hall. I'll begin with the roll call. Scott Self, I'm here. Michael York.
Here.
Richard Lane.
Here.
Brandon Self.
Here.
Victoria Ames.
Here.
Mark Scalera.
Here.
Jane Johnson, alternate.
Here.
Stacey Goodell, alternate.
Here.
And Selectmen's Rep James Tempesta
Here.
is here. Okay. We have a full board, so I don't need to sit any of the alternates. So the agenda this evening is the approval of minutes for the October 23rd, 2025 meeting of the Planning Board. And under public hearings, we have Planning Board 25-015, and that's Patten Oil Site Plan. Mark Patten proposes construction of a 1,350 square foot parking area to accommodate 2 oil trucks and 1 box truck for use by Patten Oil. Property is in the business district at tax map 102, lot 13. Public hearing B would be Planning Board 25-016, Patten Oil home-based business. This application supports Patten Oil's office operations and includes parking for 2 oil trucks and 1 box truck in coordination with the site plan application. And under discussions and other business, we have Chad Brennon, rezoning proposal. And item B would be warrant article discussion, rough draft of amendments and discussion. And C, planning priorities, strategic discussion on ordinance revisions. And then finally, but not least, adjournment. So back to the top, we'll have the regional impact vote. Anything on tonight's agenda require?
Make a motion, there is none.
Okay, a motion by Michael York that we do not need to notify the surrounding towns of anything on our on our agenda, seconded by Mark. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Move right on to the minutes of October 23rd, 2025. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
A motion, let's see, let me get here. I want to make sure I don't have something in there. A motion by Richard to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any further discussion or alterations in the minutes? Corrections? No? Then all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
I abstained.
You abstain?
Yeah.
Okay,
Wasn't here.
because you weren't there. Okay. So, the planning board members are allowed to vote on the minutes, apparently, even if they weren't there.
That's,
But
I
I know,
refuse to vote on
But
something.
I'm just saying that we are allowed to do it, but yeah, it's better practice, I think, to not vote on it if you weren't here, especially if we have enough. So, that moves us along to public hearings, and the first public hearing is Planning Board 25-015, and that's a Patten Oil Site Plan. And, let's see, we have the application here in our packets. And if the planning board denotes that the application is complete, we can move along to public hearing. And it is at 42 Monadnock Highway. Now, let's see. And it's a home-based business. No, that's the wrong one, right? Let me check.
I combined the memo of the home-based business and the site plan because they are tied together.
They are tied together. We can have a public hearing with both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Or two separate public hearings. You know, it doesn't matter. It's up to the board what
And so
we
the
want to do.
home-based business does require a site plan approval. Whenever you want, you just speak on comprehensive comments.
So, we have 2 planning board hearings, public hearings scheduled. Do you want to combine them both since they're both for the same property?
Yes.
Consensus of the board?
Combine.
A motion by Richard to combine the 2 public hearings. Is there a second?
Second.
By Brandon. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we'll combine them. So let's just take a look at the applications here, make sure they're complete enough to go to the public hearing. And see, it's on 42 Monadnock Highway, home-based business, Patten Energy. And let's see, the traffic volume, no, that's not what it'd be. A 60 by 30 building on there. Hours of operation would be Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Let's see, what's this here? And we're also looking for waivers.
But wait, we thought you just said no on the checklist.
Yeah, but the planning board needs to decide whether we're gonna give them a waiver on those or not,
Yeah.
really. So, we have, everybody has in front of them the plat submission checklist, and items 14 down through 25, they haven't included because they would like waivers on them. It doesn't really apply to that, so that's what they're looking for. Anybody want to comment on that? Or any objection to that?
I guess on number 14, location, type, and nature of all existing and proposed lighting, certainly any additional lighting, I think we would want it to be downward facing. That property is adjacent to the road, and it could be blinding if it's not.
If there is additional lighting, I didn't see on the site plan what they're putting any. Yeah, but if there is additional lighting, that would be correct, yep.
Is there, I'm trying to remember what we have in the way of screening. I'm looking at number 13. And I can't remember what there is in the way of screening between where the trucks will be parked and the adjacent property. Is there a, well, I guess I'd like to not give a waiver on that yet. I'd like to just discuss that, if we could. I don't know.
Well, 13 is not a waiver.
It's not a waiver.
It's from 14 down.
Oh, it's shown as a waiver, that it's existing. I'm not seeing it. Okay, never mind. Nothing.
So,
But I believe there is a tree line between the two adjacent properties, if I recall. Is that correct? Just related to that, one consideration, no, it's required.
That's the property we're talking about.
we're still talking about 14 through 25?
What are we talking about?
I guess
You're
I was
right. You're gonna be.
13, but I'm sorry.
No, yeah, we're just
Here?
looking at 14 through 25 right now.
Okay.
So then we move on to public hearing, we'll discuss that then.
Oh, here?
Anybody
This
else
is their lot?
on those waivers? Then a motion to grant the waivers.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Brennon to grant the requested waivers,
I'll second it.
seconded by Michael York.
I know.
And being that the waivers will not cause any, let's see,
That's what he has.
usually we have a specific wording we give for the waivers there, just so they won't get in trouble there. But it's mainly so they keep in spirit of the ordinance and our site plan review regulations. Want to add that to your motion?
Sure.
That granting the waivers would keep in spirit with the site plan regulations and the zoning ordinance. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't.
The granting of the waivers would be still keeping the spirit of the site plan review regulations and the zoning ordinance. It would not go against the spirit of the ordinance. Who seconded that? Or nobody?
I do.
Okay, Michael, yeah, you seconded that. Is there any further discussion?
Just a quick question.
Yep.
This is on town water and sewer,
Not town sewer.
not town sewer.
I'm not so sure if it's on town water either, come to think of it. It is? Okay. Still goes over there, okay, thanks. Goes on that.
So there's a septic system on the lot?
There would be on the lot, yeah.
Oh, I'm asking if there's a septic system on the lot.
On the lot that's been in existence forever, I think, yes. As is that entire side,
Yeah.
Highway 12 is still septic.
Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, it's out of the way. The rest of the application, if it looks like it's complete, then a motion that the application is complete and on to public hearing would be in order.
I'll make the motion that the application is complete and ready for public hearing.
Okay, motion by Michael York, completeness of the application. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Brandon. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we're moving right on to public hearing. I will open up the public hearing. And we can get right down to business. So would you like to make any presentation to what you're doing? Actually, I guess Adam's gonna do that. Looks like he's getting it.
It's here, 'cause no mic over there. Sorry, guys. You two are gonna share this one. I'm just gonna come up here really fast so there's a microphone. My only addition to any of this is to just remind the board that the home-based business is relying on the site plan. I would ask that you review the site plan first and make a decision on that before you move on to the home-based business. The home-based business has not yet been reviewed by the Board of Selectmen, So any approval on the home-based business should be conditional upon Board of Selectmen approval. I listed some site plan review regulations in the memo. I hope you've read those. I would like you to look over those and see if any of those apply to this application. I think all of them are pretty up in the air, up for interpretation. Again, this is just a parking area for three trucks, so, I didn't list these as requirements, because again, the planning board may waive any of these requirements on the site plan review regs. And then, last but not least, the Conservation Commission comments I have here. They had a meeting very close to this meeting, so they weren't able to get their comments in for the memo. But their comments are as follows. The Conservation Commission noted that this property is over a highly transmissive part of the aquifer. We would like to see this tanker, his tanker vehicles parked on some type of containment pad or something similar, so that any spills are not absorbed into the ground. We understand that there will be no pumping or repairs conducted on the property, but if the parked trucks contain oil, leakage is a possibility. We would also like to make sure that if he wants to park more trucks than 3, he should come back to the board for a reapproval, which you guys already know that would happen anyway. And I believe Mark will address those comments, so that's all I got.
Thank you, Adam. So, let's see, any other comments about what Adam just said? Pretty
We'll
clear,
just hear from
straightforward?
Mark and
Yep, we'll hear from the applicant. That would be you.
Sorry, this is
You're
a
up.
by right application, home-based businesses are allowed by right.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Patten. I've been in the home heating oil business for 40 years, since 1985. And I've been in Keene for the last decade. And I'm here tonight to present to the board about how we do business as a whole. Number one, safety, but number two, just how we operate as a business. And there are certain things that we have to do on a daily basis to make sure that we keep ourselves, the community, our trucks, everybody safe. Our trucks have to be safe to make a home delivery. If we ever backed on somebody's driveway and there was a drip or a leak, that would really be bad for the customer's view. They would not want to do business with us again. We've been highly regulated in the last 20 years, or since 9/11. There were multiple people that are involved in the safety of our trucks. And when I mention safety, I mean oil and spills. The truck itself is built, they're both 2020, they're 5 years old. But any truck built after 1978 has what's called a spring-loaded sump valve in the bottom of the tank. What that means is when you turn the truck on, turn the pump on at a house to make a delivery, that valve drops down and opens up while the truck is in pump. And while the truck is pumping oil, it flows through the plumbing, the piping under the truck. As soon as the driver gets back to the truck and shuts the pump off, that spring-loaded sump valve, which is air-operated, cuts off the entire tank from all the plumbing underneath. So if it's a 2,800-gallon tank, it's completely secure and safe from the plumbing below. And that's installed in every truck. It's tested weekly by us. There's an emergency safety valve on the side of the truck, but it's air-operated and it's foolproof, and it's been in our industry for a long time. Very regulated, very safe. What we do every day is our driver starts off with this card here, and I can pass it around if you want to see it. It's a 30-point inspection on the truck before it leaves the yard. It's checking the fluids of the truck, the brakes, the plumbing underneath the truck, everything. It's a complete walk around. And they check off everything to make sure it's complete. And at the end of the day, when they park the truck, they also check off the same list that when they park the truck, everything is complete and safe. And if you'd like to see this, I can pass it around. But it's what we do every day. And it's a federal thing. Every oil company does it. And so that's one thing that we do every day to make sure that our trucks are safe. The other thing we do too is at night when we park our trucks, we have a self-containment bucket, if you will. It's 8 feet long, 3.5 feet wide, and about 5 inches deep, and it holds about 20 gallons of oil. So if there was ever an issue with the plumbing, that would be contained in that area. The truck, even though it's not required, we carry a spill kit on a side-mounted toolbox, and that kit will, if we're ever at a customer's house and there was an issue, or on site an issue, We could also use that to contain any spill. The reason why they installed the sump valve is if we're ever going down the road on a highway and a car was to come under the truck and sever the plumbing, that sump valve would not let the oil leave the tank itself. And there's minimal oil in the plumbing, less than 20 gallons at all times when the truck is not in operation in pump mode. So those type of things are things that we do. We have also 20-pound fire extinguishers on the truck, complete spill kit, first aid kit. We also required by the federal government to carry an MFPA, which is an emergency response guide in the glove box. So if the driver ever has any situation, he can thumb through this book and know exactly who to call and what to do if there was ever an emergency. And moving forward on that, our drivers have to fill out and sign paperwork that they understand how we operate as a business. No hitchhikers. You can't even have your wife in the truck. It's not the way we operate. And that's part of the safety program that our insurance company provides. But we actually have a booklet here where part of this is where the drivers have to sign off that they understand these rules and regulations and will follow them to the T. This book here is something that we have in our office at all times. It has every single thing that we need, emergency references, Keene Police, Cheshire County Fire, Cheshire County Sheriff's, the hospital, urgent care, Chemtrek, our insurance company. We keep this book in our office so that if there was ever an emergency, whether our drivers are on the road or in our yard, we would take care of it. Our drivers go through really significant orientation so that they can comply with us in the safety aspect of operating our business. You can take a look at this book if you'd like. It's very informative. We will update this book right now. It has mostly Keene information, but when we get approved, hopefully by the board, we can update this to the Swanzey numbers, which will be very helpful. Our insurance company has us follow this book to the T. I can pass this around to you tonight if you'd like to take a look at it. It's all their rules and regulations on how to keep us safe. And it's not only federal, but it's state as well. It's very, very encumbersome, and we follow every bit of it. My insurance company has written a letter of good standing that I can pass around tonight if you'd like to look at it, saying that we've been in business for a long time. We've never had a loss. We've never had a motor vehicle accident.
Would you read it? Or is it too long for you to read?
I'd rather pass it around
All
if
right.
you want. It just says that we're a good company to deal with.
That's
and
fine.
They wouldn't insure us if we weren't.
That's fine.
If you'd like me to read it, I would. I'm a little nervous, so,
We'll read it.
So there's a lot of checks and boxes that have to happen to have even one truck safely on the road. We are constantly pulled over by the state police. Everybody is, dump trucks, oil trucks. That's what they do. And if you ever drive around Cheshire County, you'll see even a 1-ton pulled over. And they're checking mechanics, they're checking safety, they're checking brakes, they're checking on us oil. If there was ever a drip or anything, they would put us out of service in a second. So it's in our best interest to make sure that we are completely safe and compliant. And I am absolutely 100% sure that no drop of oil would ever hit the ground over there because of the way we conduct our business. We're very safe, we're very secure, and we can't wait to move to 42. So.
Yeah, sounds like you're very thorough with those trucks, and you'd have to be anyway, because what you do there. So would you just lightly explain what the pad is going to be like that you're going to park on? It's gravel, it says in our packet.
Yeah,
here.
right now it's lawn, and I'd like to just put down some gravel just to be able to move around.
So you're going to dig out the topsoil, or how are you going to do that?
I'm not sure how they do it. I would imagine they would.
That's up to them, right?
It's up to whoever brings the gravel in. There's probably 5 different ways you do it.
Yep.
And it's very, it's not going to impact the land at all.
Yep.
It's just a matter for us to have a secure place to park our trucks.
Yep. And you're going to use the driveways coming in there, the one off Route 12?
Yes.
Is that your main driveway you're going to use?
Sure.
That's the closest one, right, to that parking area there. Yep. And you're going to move into the house.
I already live there.
You already live there now. And how many people, I'm just seeing, because the septic system is in there, and you've lived there for a long time, correct? And with how many people in the house, like 3 or 2?
Well, there's been perhaps 3 or 4 people simultaneously, mother, brother,
Yep.
visitors,
And
and it's worked.
your family the same?
I live by myself.
Okay.
My partner Kelly behind me has a house in Brattleboro, and she works in the office with me during the day. And so if the weather's bad, she'll stay overnight.
So it's probably about
Basically living by
a quarter of the load on the septic system that's currently on it.
Right.
Okay. Let's see, what else? Let me just look, see if I have anything checked in here. I think, and you're removing those two small buildings in back by the looks of it here.
One is already gone,
Okay,
and the other one is gonna be taken down.
and there's a fence between that property and the one behind it going, I guess that would be east, correct? There's a fence back there. Okay, that's a residential unit there. And on the right going, we'll say south, what's along that border right there?
There's a hedgerow trees.
Hedgerow trees, okay, and that's a residential use over there then? All right, board members, questions?
Yes. I think it's relevant for the site plan to know where the septic system is actually located.
It's on the outside of the house.
Okay, but I think it should be shown here, you know,
Okay.
because nobody wants you to, I mean, you don't want to drive over it, nobody wants.
No.
Yeah. And the second question is, in our documentation, it talks about a 1,350 square foot pad. That's where the trucks are actually going to be parked, right?
Yeah,
Roughly,
I drew out a place on the site plan.
Yeah.
A scale inch is 30
yeah,
feet, so I figured the two trucks, how long they are.
yep,
The box truck is relatively small.
yep.
It's just 10-foot box, it's a little tiny thing, but I gave enough room for the square footage to be, so that the trucks are not just like bumper to bumper on a little, it's not really a pad.
What I'm wondering about is the space between the house and where the trucks are parked, because you've got a driveway that kind of goes around, wraps around two sides of the house, but you obviously have to drive. So is that area, the area between the house and where the trucks will be parked, will that all be also gravel?
No,
So how do you get there from there?
you just take a right and drive right on it. So Jim had quite a few military trucks there, and they've been driving in and out of there for years, so it's just pretty much already there.
So you would come in on Young, what do you mean, take a right and you're there? There's,
So I'd come down the main driveway from the main route,
from Monadnock Highway,
yes, and then
Go
I would
in.
turn right by the garage.
Yep.
And then park the trucks.
and then go across the yard? I'm sorry, it's
But
not clear.
It's not showing that there's a driveway there, but they've been driving trucks there
Okay.
anyways, or in front of that garage.
So maybe we could just pencil in that there is a driveway. I mean, we're supposed to,
I
we're
can pencil
responsible
both.
for circulation
Yeah.
on
I can
site
pencil that in
plans.
as well as septic
Yeah.
right now if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's good information, because this goes in the file, you know, and it's our record, and
Sure.
it gives us some kind of baseline stuff for future changes.
Okay.
Okay, it's not, you know, it's just more information.
Do you have one plan I can write on it right here
Well,
tonight, or do you?
Let's hold off for right now, because if that occurs, you get your approval, then it'll probably be a condition that you just draw it in and give it to Adam at the town hall.
Okay.
And anything else that you might have to add in there.
Sure.
But again, yeah, if you know where it is, you can pencil it in, and it'll be on file, like just said.
The parking side setback should be 20 feet.
Let's see, no, I think it's 10 feet in that zone, isn't it?
I was asking Adam, and he mentioned there was 20.
As I understand setbacks, they typically only come into play with structures. There are setback requirements in the industrial park district, but in the business districts, I think when you're talking about setbacks, it's mainly just structures that need to.
But under parking, it has to be 10 feet from the property line, under our parking.
Okay.
That's what it's gotta be. So, and you're 19 feet there, so you've got 9 feet to spare. Good.
Hazmat at your location where you're parking your trucks, what do you have?
You mean the documentation, is that what you mean?
No, what actual items would you have to take care of a spill there? What hazmat materials?
So we have on the side of the truck is a toolbox.
I understand your container part, but if that doesn't work, if it gets to the ground, what do you have to take care of it?
On the side of the truck is a toolbox with a spill kit in it. Inside that spill kit are these, they call them pigs, weird name, but they're 10 feet long. And we also have these pads that only absorb oil and not water or anything else. We have those on the truck, so that if we ever pulled up somewhere and we saw a drip, we instantly contain it.
And it's one on each truck, a
Yes,
kit on each truck,
has
correct?
their own spill kit.
And he also puts the pans underneath the trucks when they park them. It's a container pan with 4 inches to 6 inches?
It's 8 feet
Yeah.
by 3.5 by 4 inches. It contains about 15 to 20 gallons capacity.
And that would go underneath the truck where all the plumbing is, correct?
Every night when they're parked,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
not when
yeah.
we deliver. We leave
No.
them on site at the property.
Yeah.
And we also have speedy dry as well.
Okay, so that's what you would have there for spill containment.
Okay, the other thing was addressing what the Conservation Commission asked for,
Yep.
a hard surface, not a gravel surface.
I don't think they knew that he was gonna put a pan underneath the trucks when they parked, though. I doubt they knew that. Maybe they did, I don't know. But it doesn't sound to me like they knew that. No. Because that pretty much addresses it. If you've got a pan under there, that spill containment is used in a lot of different things. For example, down at the treatment plant down there, I know when we had chlorine down there, we still do, and other chemicals, you had to have the barrels in, the same thing he's talking about, just sitting there in case there was a little bit of a leak, but they do work.
I just want to make sure that we're signing off on it.
Yep.
Okay.
There is a big giant gas station right across the street, mind you.
I understand, but it's also hot top, or blacktop
Scott, can I
there.
ask a question?
Yes, you can, yep.
When you explained that plumbing, it was very interesting that it shuts the tank off, so we know we're safe there. When that gets shut off, does the oil from the plumbing empty out into the home, or is there still some oil in the plumbing section
It
of the
depends.
truck?
If it's a preset delivery, you may get a little bit of distance in the plumbing.
Yeah.
But usually it's to the nozzle, the oil is in the plumbing.
Yeah,
So-
so how much oil does the plumbing part of that hold? If, say the plumbing did break, we know
Yeah.
the tank ain't gonna empty out.
8-10 gallons.
Only what's in the plumbing, so.
Yeah,
And the 8 to 10 gallons it does it, we're gonna have a pan now.
Right.
So we're protected in all means.
absolutely.
Anybody else?
Yeah, so, where I was going earlier, was I was wondering if you'd be receptive to putting some screening, between where these trucks we parked and Route 12?
I would imagine so. The neighborhood isn't like that. There's no screening on any other adjoining businesses, but if you wanted me to do that, I suppose I could.
Waste management has no fence with all those filthy dumpsters and all of their dozen trucks and the cement trucks. And Dunkin' Donuts has no fence with all the cars with their lights on at night and in the morning. There's no fences anywhere there. Sam's doesn't have a fence. Just offering, not trying to buck the board, but what's the fence for? Who does it protect from being offended? I understand he has a survey from the state that there's 13,000 vehicles go by that house every day.
That's a lot. Anybody else? Then,
Pardon me for interjecting, but
anybody from the public to speak on it, other than what you already said? Nobody from Charlie there? Okay, then, if not, I'm going to close the public hearing. Public hearing is closed. All right, what do we think? It looks like he really has done his homework on protecting those trucks, and as far as spill goes, that's protected. Covered that. Covered the placement of where the parking area is, driveway access. He will address where the septic system is if we tell him to, and locate the driveway also. It would be in there. Anything else you can think of?
I just want to make sure I understand that the entrance and departure of the trucks is all going to be off Monadnock Highway. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, Route 12, right? Yeah.
Okay.
And if there's nothing else, then a motion would be in order.
I'll move that we approve the application with the condition that the select board approves it.
How about
That's
the
the home
condition
business.
of locating the septic system and
Right.
locating the driveway
Yeah,
over to the parking area?
that'd be part of it.
Okay? Motion. Motion by Michael York to approve the site plan, and are we approving the home occupation as well? Because you just mentioned about the
Yes.
second. Okay, just make that clear. So the motion is approving the home occupation, home-based business, sorry, and the site plan with the conditions that they locate the septic system on the plat, and that they locate the driveway that goes to the parking area on the plat, and that the select board sign off on it being a home-based business. seconded by Brennon.
Yep.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? And good luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
And you'll just have to see Adam about adding those things to the site plan, so give me in the file.
Okay,
Okay, thanks.
very good. Yep. Yep.
Pretty unique process, on the plan we file to the, cabinet, we'll make those,
Sure.
that was Chris has,
No, I guess the second time is not gonna be here for that.
Next week.
But
Very good.
I do have a question to you.
Thank you.
To the board concerning.
Nice to see you.
On this
Thank you, same here.
Unofficial, non-related item.
You may address the board, yes.
Representative of the Swanzey American Legion, I'd like to invite the officials of the board to the Community Church War Memorial on Veterans Day, which is Tuesday at 11 o'clock. We have an official Town of Swanzey Veterans Day ceremony.
Great.
New York can give you the details after I leave, but we'd be delighted to have you.
Thank you. Would we have been invited if we had
I was
not
going
approved it?
It's on the town bulletin board, but I just
Okay.
want to make sure.
Yeah, I was gonna do that today, Jim.
Good, you got it covered. Michael is one of us, so
Thank you.
thank you very much.
All right, good to see you. James.
Thank you. So, it doesn't look like Chad Brennan is here for the rezone proposal, so I guess we will skip that over that.
I do have a question to you concerning that.
Yep.
Because going further, it's like item number 10
Yeah.
for the amendment.
Yep.
And I'm thinking back to when Flatley came here and presented their project. Did we construct a warrant article or amendment for him to go into an industrial site to put in that? Or did we just as a board agree to the change in the zoning?
No, we just put the special exception.
We didn't do this session. If it was a special exception, it wasn't us, it was zoning board of adjustment said that it could do it. We just did the site plan part of it. It didn't need an amendment like that, what you're talking about, because it wasn't a rezoning, but the rezoning definitely needs an amendment.
Well, it was an industrial park and we allowed it to become a residential. So it changed the zoning in there.
Well, I don't
No,
think we
the zoning was
changed that
still the
zoning.
same.
I think it was the use, is
The
that.
ZBA did a special exception.
Zoning board of adjustment.
With that, would that not be the same thing for him?
No, it wouldn't, because this is he's not, first of all, not contemplating any subdivision. They just are asking the town to rezone that property for residential, so at some point, they would probably do a subdivision in there for residential use. And I would imagine the reason he would like it zoned residential is that the density is less in that area of residential. So you'd be able to get more homes in there than you would rural ag. So I would guess that's probably why it's going on.
That's exactly what he wants to do, yeah.
Yeah.
1 acre residential lots.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm hoping to hear from him at our next meeting. I think he's had some stuff going on. We have plenty of time to look over it. Yeah.
Well, the planning board understand what he wants to do anyways. I mean, it's not like it's a complicated matter.
I would still rather have, it's his proposal, I'd rather have him directly speak to
Yep.
the board on it.
Yep.
I just feel like I'm acting
So
as a
we'll just-
messenger otherwise.
Pencil him in for the
Yeah,
next
just
meeting.
let him know the time is running out.
Yeah, he has until the first meeting in January, technically. I don't wanna wait that long, but.
So Richard, you all set?
Yeah, no, I'm just asking, I couldn't remember
Yeah.
how it was handled,
Okay.
I was just asking.
Yeah,
All righty.
yeah, so it still would be, industrial land, it still would be, we didn't change the zoning. Just gave him a special exception to the ZBA.
Why not be able to do the same thing?
Because we're
there's,
talking about a larger piece of property and,
well, it's 3 different zones there by the looks.
yeah, so you make it all one residential, 1 acre lots, but we can, like Chad gets you and addresses it, that's the
Yep.
best way to do it.
So,
Sorry.
I think that's fine. Quite all right.
It's okay.
Warrant article discussion, that's what gives us to rough drafts of amendments and discussion.
Did everybody get my new draft? I would have had it out earlier, I apologize for that. I was at a conference earlier this week, so I've been kind of crazy busy this week. But I was able to get it out before the meeting at least. The only thing that I changed was, we'll get to it when we get to it, but you guys should have a new document in front of you with those new amendments. So,
Okay,
whenever we want to get started.
so let's see. We've gone through these at the last meeting. You want to go through them again, board, or, because I don't think anything is changing. Well, we have the ones about ADUs, or AADUs, actually is what it is now, which are, you know, for the state is requiring us to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of understand that, pretty much about that. Amendment number 3, that was amendment number 2.
Do you want me to start from the top, just for the good of the group, Scott?
If you wish.
Just because I know we had some members missing at the last meeting. So for those of you who weren't here at the last meeting, the first couple amendments are for, well, actually, let's start at an amendment number 1. So amendment number 1 covers the entirety of the Wetlands Conservation District rewrite. We were able to fit that into that one amendment. You see the language in front of you, establishing a new section 7 in order to amend the definition of the Wetlands Conservation District, establish revised provisions for permitted uses, and adopt a procedure for conditional uses. The full language of that amendment will be available for inspection at the town clerk's office. That has been vetted through our lawyer, Cordell, and that is coming directly out of an RSA. We are allowed to do that. Any questions on that?
Was that presented to the zoning board, not, select board the other night?
No, not
Did they
yet.
review that?
Nope, they will at some point, but it's gonna be outside of the planning board.
Hopefully before our meeting for,
The deliberative session, we don't do zoning at the deliberative session.
no, but,
But you're talking about our public hearings. I think you're
yeah,
talking about our
yeah,
public
public
hearings.
hearings.
And yeah, the planning board takes care of that on public hearings, and the select board reviews it, but the planning board are the ones that set it into place, into motion. So when we have the public hearings, if there's something different, I don't think there is, then anything, you know, that pretty much lays out what we're doing. We're replacing that entire section of the zoning, and in one swoop, which is good. There's too much for the other to do, and we pretty much hashed that all out. Everyone's in agreement with that part of the zoning ordinance that we're gonna do. So I think that's gonna be ready,
Yep,
right?
yep, I think so.
And
So-
that public hearing is scheduled for the first meeting in December, I believe?
I'm not sure. Do you know when it's held?
Sherry and I were emailing, we had gotten the dates wrong for December, so we're thinking the 4th, because it's the 4th and the 18th of December.
4th, for the first public hearing. So before that, then the planning board's gonna have to vote what goes to public hearing.
Yep.
And the wording of it. So we can either do that at this meeting, or we can do that at our next meeting.
That's usually this week.
So, yeah, we could do it at next week.
Yep, and the reason we're not doing back-to-back meetings is just because I have time to notice a public hearing between this meeting and the next meeting. Last year, I didn't have that time, so it's just better to do it.
It works out better that way anyways,
Yeah.
because we've got the 2-week skip
Yep.
right on for, the way it worked out, it was 2-week
So-
skip in between, so.
What is the next date then? We're gonna have it on the 20th?
20th, yep.
20th, okay.
All right, moving right along. This is the first state mandated change. Essentially, amendment number 2 is removing the requirement to have an interior doorway in an AADU. So we no longer can mandate that interior connection. That is the only change in amendment number 2.
But number 6 too, right? You're changing that?
And number 6, sorry,
Yep.
yeah, the parking.
Yep.
We can no longer mandate more than 1 parking space per unit, so that is also in there. Any questions? Moving right along. Amendment number 3, same deal, mandated by the state, except we are changing something else. So you'll see the first change is I crossed out permitted by special exception only, because detached ADUs are now permitted by right in all zone districts that permit single-family housing. The next part that I changed was I just changed the detached accessory dwelling unit to DADU. Typically, when you define an acronym, you use the acronym from then on out, so we are gonna change that. I also crossed out that next section saying requirements / limitations in granting a special exception, blah, blah, blah. Anything mentioning a special exception is going away. And then I also made it read similar to the AADU section, so it flows better. And then also changing the parking requirement to 1 parking space per unit. Any questions?
Pretty straightforward, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. No new stuff yet, but this is new for the group that wasn't here last week. I am also proposing permitting 2-family dwellings by right in the rural agricultural districts, the residence district, and now, as of this new document, the Village Business District 1. Essentially, any district that permits single-family dwelling by right, I believe we should also be permitting 2-family dwelling by right. Typically, in those 3 zone districts, they were a special exception, a rather easy special exception to obtain. I think we should be doing, we should be taking baby steps into the right direction on housing and allowing those 2-family dwellings by right, just giving people more options. So I expect us to have a bit more conversations about that, if you guys have any comments.
Any comments? I
The
think,
only comment I have is 2 years ago, we decreased the density through what the people in town wanted. So anytime you increase density, it's going to be a kickback from the town people. They don't want to increase density to that magnitude.
2-family isn't really increasing by a magnitude, I would say. It's a small percentage maybe. And I'd like to caution that you guys, these duplexes aren't gonna be popping around, they're not gonna be popping up magically
I understand
overnight. I don't imagine duplexes are gonna be built to a large scale ever, really. I just think this lowers some barriers and allows people to build more of what they want. And if they wanna build a duplex in these districts, I really feel like they should be allowed to build them. I don't think we should be putting up red tape like special exceptions, very easily attainable special exceptions. That's my thought. I mean, if you guys disagree, that's fine. I thought I would propose it.
It doesn't matter if we disagree, it's a matter of what I'm thinking of the people that we worked with on these issues, what they want.
Well, the whole point of proposing this is to see what they want, right? And so.
Yeah, but we all know if we put a stamp of approval on an amendment, it usually flies.
well, I think the duplex fits, actually, in the rural ag and in the
I
residential
don't
zone.
disagree with that, I'm just bringing up,
Yeah.
I'm
I
being a
do.
devil's advocate there.
Yeah, no, it does, I think it fits, it doesn't take up any more space than a single-family home, really. And, actually, we've got one right across the street from our house, it's single-family home conversion there, but
Yep.
I think it's, it's under special exception, and we don't get too many of those, really, like Adam said.
And
probably won't be.
they're approved pretty universally.
Yeah.
I really think, this isn't a multifamily, this isn't 3, 4, 5 units, it's just a duplex. I think really, if we're putting up small roadblocks, people are gonna not wanna build in Swansea. So I wanna take down these small roadblocks when we can, within reason. I think this is a small step. I'm not saying we go more than a 2-family right now, but I think this is just a small step forward and a positive step forward to trying to build more housing.
I don't disagree with that. I'm being a devil's advocate with this one.
Please,
An English question.
an
Okay.
English question.
The way it reads right now is it sort of implies that the only thing you can do in the rural ag district is build a 2-family dwelling.
So you have to.
It has to
fully
read that
permit
way.
changing,
So,
yeah.
so we'll have some other language that makes it, no?
Nope. So
How?
this is the way it'll appear on the warrant, and it's what we did last year too. So last year, you only put the language that applied to the change,
Yeah.
which is why on number 4, it goes right from 1 to B. I don't even bother putting A because A is not changing. It says amend section 4, article A 1B, which implies that only 1B is changing. It's confusing. I agree that this is not the best way to do it, but it's how New Hampshire does it, and so I think we just have to follow what we've been doing the previous years.
But Victoria's right, it is confusing.
Oh,
Reading
it
that
is
over, you think, hey,
absolutely
what's
confusing,
going on here?
But we
Yeah.
will, there will be our usual voter guide that
Oh,
will
yeah.
say that we're just changing this one part of it. But,
Yep.
you know, talk about pushback, I mean.
Yeah.
I vote
But
against that.
You should read something in that says add the permitted use, duplexes, you know,
Yep, and
something
that's
like
what it
that.
says, yeah, so use is permitted, two-family, and it's gonna be right under one family. You'll notice in an amendment further down, we have to do some reorganization with how things look. It'll always go A, B, one family, two family, right? Just for readability's sake.
Yeah, but, right, we'll have the explanation that says this is
Yep.
adding the
Yeah.
use by right.
Voter guides will make it a lot
Yeah.
more clear of what is being written.
To go along with Mike's point, advocate or whatever, if the town has already determined that it doesn't want that particular type of building in the area, or they want to maintain a less dense population or building area, if we start doing this, and it may be just small, but you're changing the character of why people came here. They came here for the ability to have an open area and not be into a situation where you're gonna have an increase in car volume if you're having a two-family or multi-family. You know, I'm just throwing that out there just for.
It's a good point, but we don't wanna go into multifamily, because then we're going into a whole different
Yes,
ballgame
I
there.
agree.
We'll keep it a duplex.
I would have a
two-family.
counterpoint by saying that if that was the case, they wouldn't be permitted by special exception. They would just be removed altogether.
Well, that is why they're permitted by special exceptions, so that the neighbors can have a chance to say, well, you know, there's a lot of traffic on that road, and another family in there is gonna make it this or that, or whatever. That's why it's special exception, because you get a chance to state your case to the ZBA. But, you know, you have a good point there, but again, personally, I think it fits, you know, in those zones, because it just doesn't take up any more space than a single-family home, generally speaking, and it would add more traffic maybe there, but I don't know, up to the board.
I just
Whatever
learned
it is.
at my conference that 25% of New England households are one person, one singular person. Crazy stat, one that's is hard to believe, but it is true. I don't believe traffic would be an issue, but it is something that's gonna be brought up.
How
at a
old are
public
these
hearing.
one persons?
Yeah,
Probably older?
one car, yeah, probably older.
I think it'd be less intrusive with the duplex rather than the ADU, you know? I mean, that's doing the same thing with an ADU, that same amount of traffic, probably same families and stuff, but
What happens with the density requirement?
Except for ADU can only be built to a
The
certain
density
size.
requirement that says,
where-
you know,
it can, but you're adding
for a
something to the
two-family
property.
dwelling,
with the
shall
ADU.
be
Oh,
3.5
yeah. Duplex
acres.
is not.
Let's bring
Same
it up.
footprint.
Okay.
I'm just looking at
There
one. that-
questions, did I miss something?
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, what happens with the density requirement?
Let's get on to that.
Let's get on to
We're
it, yeah.
still here
Okay.
first.
Yep,
So-
it's a good question by Stacy.
But any other questions on the, first of all, yeah.
Two comments, really. First, with a duplex, yeah, it's not taking up more space. Is it adding more tax revenue, giving more tax revenue to the town?
Modest.
Obvious, but it's also could be taking away additional resources from the town. You have one family versus a second family, there's multiple kids in each, and we're really not getting a lot of tax revenue for.
We're not finding multiple kids. The stats say that, just for example, the 200 plus units at Flatley, that's not really adding more than a handful of kids to the school. So I think the stats on how many kids this is gonna add to the school system, it's gonna be negligible, especially with the addition we're adding onto the school now.
But you gotta remember one thing, even if it's only 10 kids up there, that's what they gave us for protection.
That stat
That's
is usually-
$25,000 per kid.
And it's brought up every time. When we did Evergreen Knoll down here and River Bend there, it's the same way. This isn't gonna have very many kids in the school system, but you look at school bus time there, and it is. So,
Well, what's always hidden in that number is how many empty nesters move into these apartment buildings, and then you have families moving into their houses, and that's where kids come from, they're not accounted for in their statistics when somebody builds an apartment. So that's always kind of math. The other thing is, at the last meeting, I asked if we can possibly get some vacancy rates for some of the new buildings that we have here, the new apartments. All these things are dealing with density, whether it's increasing the number of people or reducing a lot. And that would be really helpful for me to better assess where we're going here.
I'm not sure how vacancy rates would help with the decision on adding duplexes.
It would help me,
Why is that?
simply because I want to know how long it's taking to fill these.
But
these apartment
a
buildings.
quick question though, how does that affect your decision on whether or not to allow people to build them? I'm struggling to see how that would affect your decision on either to support or not support this.
I'm trying to
'Cause
understand what the demand is in our town for housing. We've been hearing this demand across the state, but I'm not necessarily seeing that demand in this particular area. I think Swanzey has done a lot in the last couple of years, and I'm wondering how much further we go. I've been in areas where all of a sudden farmland, after farmland starts getting bought up by big developers, and they come in, they want to put up, a huge number of homes.
I would like to see that data. If you have it, I don't have it, and I'm probably not gonna be able to find exact vacancy rates for Swansea, just because I just don't see the value of that data for this decision.
I do, and I was just following up on something you said you would do last week.
I don't have that number, and I'm probably not going to, but if I welcome anybody to do that research and to bring that.
So, shall we move along, or are we still on the duplexes for rural ag? That's where we're at, so.
Well, it's more in rural ag.
No, we're only on rural ag right now. I mean, we're getting to the residential and all that stuff later, right?
No, but he added,
Oh, maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. I mean, the old one. I mean,
he added another zone to that.
You just said the rural.
Yep, so amendment number 4 is just adding two-family dwellings as a permitted use. Amendment number 5 is removing two-family dwelling as a special exception use. And to Stacy's question, also removing density requirement for a two-family dwelling shall be 3 1/2 acres unless connected to public sewer. Only reason I'm crossing that out, which I welcome if you guys want to put that back into the uses permitted, please do. I just don't think that we need 3 1/2 acres for a duplex.
So what would it default to then?
Whatever the,
That's what my question
yep,
is, yeah.
That's-
so whatever the septic design, so essentially when you have a duplex come through the code office, you already have to look to make sure that septic and water fit on the lot. And so those checks are already gonna be done without this requirement, so I figured why have the requirement if we already need to do the checks anyway. Yeah, but again, if you guys want to put them back in, please do. I just don't think they're needed is why I did that.
Technical question, are we still required to show a replacement area for a replacement septic
Yes.
too?
Yes.
So it's the site, the septic system itself plus another system, should that one fail?
Well, so if the septic system would need to support, however many people a duplex has. So,
Plus area reserved
yeah,
for a replacement system.
whatever is normally required now, that's not.
Well, that's my question, is that what is required now?
I don't approve septic systems, so,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I can ask.
So, but that's relevant to how much land one needs for
Right.
a duplex.
But those checks aren't
It
going
kind of
away.
limits it to that, then by the sounds. 'Cause that's what you're asking, right?
Hmm.
Because that's what I was getting at myself. If we get rid of that 3 1/2 acres, are we gonna be able to allow 100 people to build two
No.
or one units on half-acre lots or a third of an acre lot?
No,
or
you still
something
only
like
have
that?
one duplex per 3-acre lot. Because the minimum lot size in rural ag is 3 acres. So you can still only build one duplex on a 3-acre lot. That's not-
Okay, so really
that's
what you're
not
changing is you're going from, it used to be 3 1/2, and you're saying it should be the underlying density, which is 3 acres.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and so the water and sewer checks are still gonna be in place through the code office and the health officer. That's not changing. Yeah.
So what'll it be? 3 or 3.5? 3 is the, like Adam said, is the standard lot size in that rural ag zone.
I don't see why you can't leave it at 3.
Just you.
Put it at 3 as the other one? Okay, let's put it at 3 then. So we'll change the 3.5 to 3. Correct?
Well, we don't even need to write it,
You don't
because
need
it's
to write
already
it,
the, it's already the minimum lot size. It's already,
It's the
And we'll-
default.
We'll leave crossing that G right out. We'll leave it crossed right out.
we're gonna stay on the subject for a few more. Number 6 is for the residence district, Article B, 1B, and H, sorry. Uses permitted. This is one instance where we need to change some organization. So you see I cross out customary agricultural uses, including gardens, nurseries, and greenhouses. 2-family dwelling, will go there. And then H, you add back in the customary agricultural uses, including gardens, nurseries, and greenhouses. Just an organizational, just a restructure to make it easier to read. Kinda hard to tell on this sheet how it's gonna look in the ordinance, but our ordinance is, yeah.
So you're trying to group the housing in one
Exactly.
section and then
Yep.
other uses further.
Yeah, cause otherwise it'll be 1-family and then way at the bottom it'll be 2-family, that's confusing.
Any comments?
The density in the residential is still,
1 acre.
It is the same, so the same reasoning as the, rural ag. The checks for water and sewer still exist through the code office and the health office. And, so I just crossed out the 1 and 1/2 acre, cause it's already 1 acre minimum lot size. You know, if you can't fit water and sewer on a lot with a duplex, then you can't build a duplex, essentially, so.
So we move to number 7? All right.
Yeah, sorry, I was just answering that, yeah.
Okay, so number 6, wait a minute, number 7, I'm using the 2 list because I did all my notes on the old one.
I know,
and
I'm
got the
sorry.
new one in. So we're still in number 6, correct?
Yeah, any questions on
So-
number 6?
It's a reorganization, we're using, putting 2-family homes under B, and H, customary agricultural uses, including gardens, nurseries, and greenhouses under H. I mean, yeah, B then H, so everybody gets that, right? Next.
Just
Okay,
like a housekeeping
Yeah.
thing by the sounds.
everybody okay? Mark?
So I'm just sorry, we could have a duplex and we could also have an ADU.
I don't think so, in our
No.
current
No, I don't
ordinance.
think so.
Okay, okay,
Not the way our current ordinance is set up.
okay.
Although I do suspect, in a few years, we might see that mandated. And I mean, I would probably propose that in a year or 2 anyway, cause I think, why not? I also don't think our density can support that anyway, so it's just, if you have a duplex right now, you cannot build an ADU, just for their
Okay,
density.
okay,
reasons.
okay.
Yeah. Cause ADUs are only permitted on lots that permit single family, and if you already have a duplex, right now, you can't build an ADU. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's amendment number 6. All done with discussion there, I think? Moving on to number 7. Let's see.
So, 7 is same as the rural ag, same deal. I made a typo, it looks like, amend section 4, article B to A and B. That should just read B to B. And I'm just crossing out that 2-family dwelling under special exceptions. I will make that change now. So Sue, for the minutes, I need to amend that to read, amend section 4, article B to B. Right now it says B to A and B.
Yep.
So, changing it now. Alright. Moving on to 8.
No, let's stay on number 7 for a second
Let's
there,
stay on
because we've
7.
got that density thing in there, the 1.5 acres
Yep,
we're talking about as well.
yep, and that's the same reasoning.
So, it is, but we'll say that the rezoning goes through on Route 32, and they decide to put up all duplexes in there, and they'll fit on the 1 acres, then you are doubling the density normally that you would have in that, as far as people go. I mean, I
Yep.
can see it for single-family lots or something like that, but if you're doing a development like that, not that they're gonna do that, but I'm just saying that
Right.
that would kind of double the density in there, is what I'm saying.
Right, if the lot already supports it, and an acre does already support a duplex, so a brand new,
Yeah.
freshly subdivided acre lot would support water, sewer.
But the
for
thing
a
is,
duplex.
you'll have 2 families per acre rather than 1 family per acre. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and it's still really spread out.
It is, but I think we ought to leave it at 1.5 acres. We need to, just to,
And that's unless
Circumvent
connected to
that.
public sewer. So I do think they're gonna be connecting to public sewer when they do that subdivision, so they wouldn't need to.
well, then the next one that comes along, I think we ought to leave it at 1.5. I don't know, what's the rest of the board think?
Then I think we might wanna,
You think, what do you think? Density, 1.5 acres, or 1?
Right, leave it at 1.5.
1.5.
I'm good with
1.5. Okay, it looks like we're leaving it at 1.5.
that's fine, yeah. If they are connected to public sewer though, then they only need that one.
That is correct.
Yep. So I'm gonna
Let's
make a
see.
note. Hold on one second, let me get that down. Okay, moving on to number 8, this is the new addition, so 8 and 9 are new additions. I removed the amendment, proposing to change the multifamily in the business district from 5 units to 3, because you guys voted on that a few years ago. We're just gonna leave that one alone. And instead, the only other district where single-family housing is allowed, other than residence and rural ag, is Village Business 1. So this is just the same reasoning as rural ag and Village Business 1. I would like 2-family dwelling permitted in every district that single-family is permitted. Village Business 1 would be no exception. And you'll see I would have to move restaurant down to M, and then on B, 2-family dwelling would be there.
And that's another organizational move, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so, 2 families in the Village Business 1. Comments? No comments so far. I'd agree with that, I don't think it's gonna increase density too much there in that regard, because there isn't any room for putting up a giant subdivision, something like that. And I think it fits in there, but what's the rest of the board think?
Village District 1 is only along 32, or is it also over here?
Let's see, did we change that? What did we do now?
Changed it.
This is Village District 02 over here.
Yeah, we changed that to 2, and there's 1, but mainly over 32, but I thought we still had some there. I'll have to check, I don't know, unless you can check in your zoning and see if it is.
Well, the-
But
as we
either
cha-
way, residential, if it's over here, that's mostly residential over there, except for where the mill is, that's business 2, I think.
Yeah, it is.
So that's business 1 over here where the mill isn't, so, and that's mainly residential anyway. And there are more than 2-family homes over there, some of it anyway.
Yeah, there's,
A lot of big houses have been converted down here on the street here.
Well, Business District 1 is pretty much saturated as it is.
It is, yeah.
And why are we changing?
To allow it as a right, I would say if someone wanted to do a conversion, or if they want to take a house down and put up a 2-family, I would say,
They're all pretty much non-conforming as it is. How the heck do you go in and put in?
if it's in the same footprint, they can do it. If
the
as long as they
build
don't
up like that.
make it more non-conforming, they can do it with the place, but, yeah, whether any will be done like that or not, anybody's guess.
Yeah, again, I don't think these are gonna be
No,
popping up everywhere.
I'm not sure there's a need for the amendment at all.
seeing as how it's, like Richard was saying, it's saturated.
Why are we wasting the real estate?
Real estate as to the amendment, right, paper on the amendment there.
I just think if you allow 1-family, I really think you should allow 2-family. I don't think they're gonna pop up overnight. I don't think they're gonna pop up in Village Business 1 at all, but they might. And I think if somebody buys a lot and they wanna build a duplex, I think they should be able to build a duplex without going through the very easily approvable zoning board process for these.
So let's see, do we have that listed as a special exception?
Under Village Business 1, yeah.
Village 1?
Cause you'll see amendment number 7, you have to get rid of the special exception for that.
Let me get my other
There's a typo in there.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute, yeah.
Yeah, special exception under village business 1 as well.
That is allowed, isn't it, special exception? I'm just looking over here.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be under amendment number 9 in the
Okay.
in the new sheet.
Yeah, I see it down there. So, what does the board think? Does it need to be done or not? Because it could go either way.
I can go either.
Because-
I don't think it needs to be.
No,
I think
Then that's
regardless if it needs to be or not, I think you're giving people more options. If they come to Swansea and they wanna build a duplex in Village Business 1, now they can, without having to go through extra red tape.
Adam, where along that stretch are you going to find a lot to build that on? They're non-conforming as it is. They're basically within 10 feet of each side of the boundary line. And, you know, you have there isn't, I mean, you know, we've been discussing the airport thing, you know, and the density. But, I mean, that's the only place, if that should fall through and not be done, that would be, to me, that's the only place you could build something. And we have a density requirement there.
It'd be a tear down probably, right? On the same
Who is going to
footprint.
tear that down in one of those lots and put in a two-family?
Well, some of those houses are, you know, not super modern. Some of them were, you know, they originally were sort of more campish, you know, in some of those lots.
About the only two-family or multifamily I can remember is where Wilbur's Supermarket started on 32.
I'm just saying that could be
Yeah.
a scenario, you know, where it would, the existing structure would be torn down and a duplex could be built on the footprint of.
I understand the concern. I do think, you know, this probably is not going to personally appeal to the board, because I don't think any of you would personally buy a duplex in this district. But just because that this development isn't for you, doesn't mean it won't benefit somebody down the line. So I think we give people options instead of putting up more red tape. And I truly think this is an easy fix in our ordinance to give people more options. If there's no lot that supports it, that's fine. I don't believe that to be true, but I think it just gives people more options.
well, we could save it for another time. Stacy, what do you think?
I'm an either or.
Either or?
Yep.
You aren't gonna commit either way?
No.
Richard? Richard?
I don't think
Yes,
we
no,
need-
no? Michael? No, I'm a no. You?
I don't think we need it.
Mark? Victoria?
I'm a no because I feel like that section of town is already really dense to begin with.
Jane?
No.
James?
I'm an either or too.
Okay, so it looks like it's a no.
Okay.
So we won't be moving forward with that one.
All good. So, let's see here, so number 8 and 9 will go away. And we will move to number 10, which is another lovely state requirement on parking.
No, but we don't have a choice with that one.
No
No.
choice.
So, just I guess now that you mentioned that, Mike, even if these are not approved on the warrant article, we will, so say this doesn't get approved, then we will need to add a technical note in the ordinance saying that this is still state mandated, per RSA, whatever. So yeah, we're just changing one family dwelling and two family dwelling to one space per unit, and then multifamily dwelling is also changing to one space per unit.
Now, on our warrant itself that we vote on, are they gonna place that, HB 577 requires this sort of
I
note
think
on
so,
there?
yeah, it's SB 284, and I think so.
Yeah.
I'll have to check with
Should
Cordell
be.
and see if we can make that in.
Then people can realize that it's not something we're forcing down the throat, it's what the state's forcing down their
Yeah,
throat.
I think the problem though, is if I was a Swansea voter and I saw that state requirement, just out of an act of rebellion, I might just vote no, just to be funny about it, but, so I imagine some people in Swansea might get some ideas if that's on there. So we'll see if it's required to be on there or not. It should be a fun experiment regardless.
Well, after it goes through public hearing, it'll carry the same.
Yeah.
The planning board recommends it, so.
I think the voter guide will be very clear what are state mandated, what's not state mandated. Just because we'll have to from this point forward.
Yeah. So,
And then number 11, just the rezone, whenever
Yeah.
we eventually hear from that.
yep,
That language is going to change. I need Chad and the applicant, the property owner to verify some things first.
Yeah,
Alright.
I can't make a decision until I hear from Chad, what he wants to really do there.
Yeah.
then we will wait on that one, and if we don't hear from them prior to the public hearing, then it'll go on the next public hearing. So,
Do you guys have a timeline of when you want to see these amendments at a public hearing? Because I think we can knock them all out in one, maybe.
well, probably, usually earlier the better, in case something has changed, and we have to go to another public hearing. So,
You get
didn't you
20
already have
people.
one penciled in for December 4th? Didn't you say the
For
4th?
the wetlands, possibly.
Oh, just wetlands?
That's gonna need its own, I think, unless you guys disagree. I think.
I don't know.
That may get some kickback.
It's a big one. I think that's gonna need its own public hearing, which would place
We got
this
the
one
time,
on December 18th. And that's still within the timeline. The last day to have the first public hearing is the first meeting in January. And so if this requires a couple, we'll still have it done on time.
Yep, so
So we do it on the fourth would be,
we'll get that in,
We
maybe,
can do this on the 20th. We can do this on the next one too.
because that rezoning one might be a big one too, possibly.
If
Don't
you
know.
want me to place
possibly.
the ones that you guys have discussed and are able to discuss, we can do those, we can just do certain amendments at our next meeting, and then just leave off the rezoning amendment for a different meeting, if you want.
Kick out the easy ones first, you're saying.
Yeah.
So,
The,
then at our next meeting, we're gonna be deciding what goes on to the public hearing on December 4th. So we should have the wetlands
Schedule at home, too.
amendment for our next meeting, and we should have whatever other
Yeah,
amendments.
I thought you guys had already approved the wetlands to go to public hearing. I must have
No,
been
there wasn't a
mistaken.
motion to say it was going to public hearing, but if we have them in our next meeting, then the planning board can decide which ones and vote on which ones are going to public hearing.
Yep.
And then public hearing will vote which one go on to the,
the schedule for the public hearings is there.
Yeah, I've got that, I've got a more.
I think it's January
published one.
12th.
I got all.
but I
the
think we're
stuff.
talking about December 4th, though. Oh, this is petition, I'm reading petition
December
zoning.
fourth is not
Yeah.
a normal date for
Yeah,
us.
that's just this is petition zoning here we're talking about, right? Yeah, we aren't talking about,
Petition zoning?
yeah, we aren't
Is it
talking
only
about
posi-
zoning stuff. So let's
So-
keep it at that, so our next meeting, we'll just decide formally what goes on
No.
for a public hearing.
No, January first is the last day to post and publish notice for the first public hearing on zoning amendments. If a second hearing is scheduled, then it's gotta be, I can't see that date very well. But It's scheduled to be a zoning amendments there.
But we're prior to that anyways.
Right, we're prior to that, but we're just saying that's when we have to have the work.
You said,
done.
was that the first?
Or it was, Thursday the first, yeah.
Yeah, Thursday the first. I gotta schedule everything at home.
Either way, I think we can get all the public hearings done before January. Our next meeting, we can set the schedule, and we'll go from there. And I'll post a notice.
Yeah.
So you saying
we'll
we're
do
gonna have
that.
one on the fourth of December?
Yep.
Cause that's not our usual day that we do it.
Nope.
I better note that, so don't go by it.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us up to planning priorities. Strategic discussion on ordinance revisions.
This is going to be, I think I want this to be a stand-in item. You all work with the ordinance on a daily basis, well, weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, whatever. You guys work with the zoning ordinance regularly. It's a good opportunity to bring up any ideas, any discussions, if you guys wanna have any trainings on any sections, anything you wanna see for the future. Just a standing item to tell me what you guys want to see out of the ordinance, if anything.
So this is gonna be a standing, planning priorities on every single meeting, is that what you're saying, or no?
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
I think, you know, you guys can notify me before the packet goes out. Hey, Adam, I wanna talk about this section, can you prepare materials, this, and this for the meeting? And then we can have that discussion. On particularly slow meetings,
Sure.
this could be beneficial, I think.
Yeah, always good to discuss our ordinance, because, yeah, it's
Do
a little
you
bit
see
convoluted.
any value in the ZBA being involved in some of these? Because when they had to make a decision sometimes on what the intent of the planning board was when we wrote it.
I guess it depending on the discussion. Depending on the
Yeah,
discussion.
they interpret the entire ordinance.
Right,
their
but that's
job.
what I'm saying, to interpret it, but they have to interpret what we meant by
But
passing that.
Some of this was written,
Oh, I
you
know,
know,
I
a ways
know.
away, so they
That-
aren't
that
really
stuff
gonna know
is-
what the
yeah,
planning board's talking about.
That's tough, but recent ones are not tough.
What they do is, they just interpret it, and if, you know, whatever they think it means, it means.
But Victoria and I had a very productive discussion about something like this. Does this pretty much capture what we were thinking about?
Yeah, so an example for me would be, one thing I would really like to see the board grapple with is the idea of mandating, in the case of, say, multifamily housing, instead of the developer building right out to the edge of the property, you know, with parking or whatever, but to mandate some sort of recreational space on the lot, so that when we put so many people in one place, they have an opportunity to get outside and, you know,
Like a green space.
something, yeah,
We do
just
have green
some
space.
undeveloped land. So, because you know, I think for financial reasons, there's great motivation to, the way our ordinance is written right now, to build right up as close to the edge as possible, and any kind of open space is, you know, too expensive to keep. So I think if we could regulate that, I think that would really help quality of life for people who do find themselves living in places.
Be the
like
same
that.
kind of idea as a cottage court, where you have a central
Yeah.
area for
Yeah.
recreation
Yeah.
with housing surrounding it. But that's good.
But, so that's just an example of something that, it's a change I'd like to see in the zoning, but we might not all agree. So, you know, if we had a chance to, you know, grapple with ideas like that, I think, first of all, it'd be fun, and secondly, I think it'd be productive.
And it could be the topic of a meeting. I mean, if you came up with something that you
Yeah.
think it should be, that's a topic at the end of the meeting that we're all
Yeah.
talking about, so sure, that's fine.
And I have one more thing I wanted to bring up to the board, as long as we're done talking about planning priority item.
I think we are.
In 2026, I want to start a planning roundtable series. I want to have 4 next year. Every quarter, I want to have a roundtable session with people in Swanzey, invite all the citizens of Swanzey to come to Wickham Hall and have discussions about what they want to see in town, where they want to see housing, what type of housing, what type of development they want to see, etc. Just, I think it's good to get community input when we can, and I notice a lot of other communities do these roundtable sessions with their citizens. Could be beneficial. If anyone wants to volunteer, let me know. I can sign you up. You don't have to. I'm just planning on doing it myself. But if anyone's interested, let me know, and I can include you guys.
The key to getting people here, buying pizza.
Oh, food will be part of it. Trust me. I don't know what kind of
We've
food.
tried these things in the past, and I'm not against them, I think they're a great idea. It's getting people to go to them.
Exactly.
Kind of stealing our thunder from the governance committee.
Well, it's what,
No, no,
really
it's
meetings.
going hand in hand with it, though.
it's going hand in hand with it, it's what we
But
wanna do.
if
Yeah,
we
no,
do
I
that,
understand.
we need to schedule, I think we should schedule it as a planning board meeting, because there might be a quorum of us
Perfect.
at those meetings.
It's
So,
all of us to hear
you know,
the people
well,
tell
no,
us what they want.
If we're talking about zoning, and
Right.
we're a quorum, then it kinda has to be a public
Well,
meeting,
that's
as
what I
a
was
planning board
thinking.
meeting.
No more than 2. So if you want to volunteer, let me know.
Are you restricting it to no more than 2 planning board members
Unless we
there?
want it to be a planning board meeting. But if we want it to just be an informal roundtable, no more than 2 planning board members at a time.
That might not be a bad idea,
Maybe-
then
maybe a
if
planning
everyone
board.
wanted to go to them, then two people could go to the first
Yeah.
one, 2 more people could
Yeah.
go to the second one.
Yeah, just,
Yeah,
you know,
then
I'll
there wouldn't
probably
be-
invite 1 or 2 from conservation, 1 or 2 from zoning, maybe 1 from zoning. Just open discussions with the community about what they want for Swansea. that way it'll help maybe inform some decisions we make going forward on future warrant articles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
Yep. And then it'll also inform, when we do an ordinance audit, it'll also inform, the discussions on that. When I was at my conference, I got a list of names for companies who do ordinance audits, and rewrites. We're not doing a rewrite, but audits. So when we put out an RFP for an ordinance audit, we will have probably a lot of, competition for that. They were very interested when I said our page count is only 84 pages. They seemed excited, so.
When would you start this? Beginning of the year?
Nope, not until April. So
After
yeah, once they vote on our new ordinance, we probably can't get an RFP out until April. Hopefully late March, but it takes a while to put that together. And that is all I got.
Scott, just going with that, with the governance committee, if we do go to quarterly things, then we would only be allowed, or two of us from the planning board.
By that time, the governance committee probably will not be anymore, I would guess. I mean, our work will have been done by the time town meeting comes along. I mean, that's the only reason the governance committee is there, is to make a recommendation to the selectmen as to if things ought to be changed, you know, as far as running the town, you know, how the town is run by selectmen or a manager or something like that.
Then why are we pursuing doing quarterly?
I think that was you. You were.
No, but it's been brought up and it's been
Yeah.
kind of.
It is, but if you look at what our charge was, the charge was just to make a recommendation to the selectmen as to the formal town government. Not necessarily how to inform people, how to get people to the meetings or any of that business, which is good. What we're doing is extra, but we aren't supposed to be doing that, but we can. But the committee will probably be disbanded after we make the recommendation to the selectmen, unless they decide to, you know, have another committee.
We based it on the fire department committee that we had, like, you know, we had them help us do that, and then that was gone, and then we went with this to help us with this,
Yeah,
right?
that's how they usually do.
There was a mission here, and it's gonna be over, and
Right, it works like that, and has forever worked like that, where selectmen want to do something, or they want an idea on something, you just have volunteers
Exactly.
brainstorm on it, and then you present it to selectmen, and they take it.
I think the only reason I'm worried about this being considered a planning board quorum is because it's related to planning. And so if we have planning roundtables and there's 3 planning board members here, it's a planning board meeting.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's why you said you're gonna restrict it to 2,
Yeah.
so I think we already went through that.
If it was for a different committee, it wouldn't really matter.
Yeah.
But what would be the bad thing about that if we did do it with all you guys and?
It's not a bad
Oh,
thing,
we
it's just that
can.
you should post it as a planning board
Yeah.
meeting, that's all.
And we
By
absolutely
statute.
can do that. It would just be a special planning board meeting.
I think it would be beneficial
That's all you have
that,
to do.
that the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
board would be
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah,
I
totally.
think it's much smarter than she's all
That's
attending.
fine, yeah. We
But
can
you
do
Yeah,
got
but you might get
information
more people if you
firsthand.
held it on a Saturday and posted it as like a community event versus a planning board meeting.
It will be Saturday.
I
or
mean,
Sunday.
look at our lovely audience out there right now,
Yeah.
for instance.
There's one show.
It'll be Saturday.
Bruce was for
It will absolutely be on a weekend. It
Could you
will
do
not
it?
be on a weekday. So I will be sacrificing one weekend day, 4 times next year to do this. It will be on a weekend, because that's when we get the most turnout.
Oh, Saturdays are always your
It
best
has
bet.
to be a weekend.
Yeah,
Is that gonna be overtime?
yeah, you get all this time.
have to try to watch our
It'll be
overtime.
flex- it'll be flex- I'm probably not gonna be at work that Friday. which is-
Right, take Friday off.
Yeah.
But we're gonna hold it at the recycling center.
So are you gonna run the meeting, is that what it's gonna be?
If you guys don't mind.
No,
that's fine.
if it's, yeah, you should, someone needs to run the
Yeah.
meeting, because those meetings turn into a complaint fest.
Yep,
That's
so
what happens.
I will be
Yeah.
running the meeting. I want you guys focused solely on process
Interrupting you.
information. I will be doing all the organizational stuff.
Okay.
My understanding is if you do a round table and you set up separate tables for people,
Yeah,
then you put like a planning board member on each table.
that's exactly what's gonna happen.
And they can make sure notes are taken and then compare them at the end.
Yep, there was a good discussion that I had at my conference where if it's a setup like this invites more conflict. Roundtable sessions
Round
with
tables are
food, there's more productive discussion.
Right.
So,
Great idea.
that's all I got.
Okay.
Great one.
I have another question for you.
Please,
When can we make Charlie legal?
whatever you guys want.
can't,
I know initially I wanted to wait until I got some advertisements out
yeah,
in Swanzey Uncovered. That's not gonna be out until the start of December now. We have a bit of time still until that goes out. I think Katie needs those done by the end of this month. I'm gonna have the planning section done next week. It's not gonna be published until next month, so.
So is it still going out in the newsletter then, that?
Yeah, but
Looking
not
for-
until the end of the year almost. Whatever you guys wanna do. Whatever you guys do, I'll either advertise a position or not, so it doesn't really matter.
couldn't we just,
What does the board want to do? Charlie's been here
I'd
several
like to-
meetings here.
I think we should make a, could I make a motion to,
I have his application right in there.
okay, well,
Do you wanna ask him any questions or anything first?
He was the selectman's rep for, what, 6 months?
oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
we
he
know-
knows the biz, yeah.
What do you,
Yeah, so-
I'm missing something, what is Charlie being?
He wants to be an alternate on the planning
He's
board.
willing
We
to
have
be
one
an
spot open.
alternate.
And he submitted an application
Yeah.
probably a month ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
2 or 3 months.
Two or
And
three,
he's
it's been a
been
while.
attending the meetings
How
here.
many alternates can you have?
Pardon me? Oh,
How many
3,
al-
yeah.
Three alternates.
Oh,
And we have
can
2
only
now.
have 2?
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion that we accept Charlie's application as an alternate
To the planning board.
to the planning board.
For a, let me see, would that be a 2-year or a 3-year? Adam, do you remember if that's 2-year or 3-year? It's a 3-year, okay, for,
But you don't have to make that in the motion.
All right.
When we process the oath.
we'll do it then?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Are you still willing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
And is there a second then? You're finished with your motion, right?
Yes.
Okay, seconded by Richard. So a motion by Victoria to accept Charlie Harback as our alternate, third alternate to the planning board. That was seconded by Richard. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Welcome aboard, Charlie.
Thank you.
And we'll expect you not to miss any meeting.
I didn't miss them before.
I know.
Before we
Okay.
go into an adjournment,
Yep.
I have just one quick thing.
Oh, that's enough.
Last week I wasn't here because down at Jimmy's, he had the leadership from the house there. So I talked extensively, I made everybody laugh just about, and I grabbed Jason Osborne, who is the majority leader in the house. And he's the one that's author on all these house bills. The one in particular is SB 84, that requires us to rezone to a half an acre. It's a whole breakdown, a half an acre if you're on sewage and water, an acre if you're on just one or the other, and then the rest of the residential has to be 1 acre. That got retained because it was, that was retained as a bill because he couldn't get the votes to pass it at the Senate level. There's gonna be amendments coming out on it because there is a big kickback, especially from his own party, the Republican Party, that they are too small, that people don't want that. Because it does cost a lot of money when you stop and think about the resources, when you get the high density that these require, the school resources. Right now, we're at $25,000 per student in this school district, and then your police. Right now, the police department only has 7 operating policemen in town right now. We're authorized 14. FBI standard says we should have 16 according to our population, because you should have 2 police officers for every 1,000 people. How in the world we can't maintain 14, we gotta maintain 16, and then if we go up to 10,000 people, you're gonna have a 20-man force. Okay, so that's the firemen, we're still struggling to keep firemen in there, doing better. Okay, and then, local, assistance is a problem. Because right now, on West Swansea Apartments, from what I understand from Edith when she left, 20% of those people are on local assistance right now. So that means you and I are paying for their rent or whatever else they need. And that's mandated by the state. I think Lori's been doing some good work in trying to get that under control, but there's only so much we can do as a town because we have to provide that assistance by law. So that is an issue. We have to think about all those things when we increase density in any way. No, I have a letter that I'm drafting out to all, if he tries to push this through the same thing, as a chairman of the Swanzey Republicans, I got a letter that I'm drafting to send to all the chairmen in the towns that I know of in all the county, to push back on them, that local control means local control. If the people in the town of Swanzey wanted to move in that direction, that's one matter. But the state should not be telling us how to run our towns in that matter. And unfortunately, by our constitution, they can.
So here's what they're looking at. Let's see, if you do not have municipal water or sewer, they're putting it 1.5 acres. This is for residential, single-family residential use. 1.5 acres if there's no water and sewer. If there is sewer, it is 1 acre. If there is water infrastructure, it's down to 1 acre. If there is sewer infrastructure, it's down to 1/2 acre. So that's what they want to do.
Back up, what did you, if it's water, it's
If-
one.
If you have water going by the property but no sewer, it's 1 acre minimum lot size. And if it's sewage going by the property but no water, it's 1/2 acre.
Can I make it quick, just an observation on this? It doesn't mean that lots greater can't exist, it's just we can't mandate them to be.
Correct.
Right.
So the greater size lots will still exist, especially
Yep.
in Swansea. We just can't say it has to be that size. So
Right.
I think we should pour some water over the fire, and it's like, this is not the end of the world.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
I already grabbed my pitchfork, so.
Right.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
But if the state passes that bill, they will require those.
Yeah.
You can still have acre lots. No one's saying you can't have acre lots.
Not if you have sewer and water.
In our ordinance, we just won't be able to require it, but you are still able to have an acre lot.
Well, the way that bill is written, that's not what it says.
I'm reading right now. That's the way I read it.
But,
You're interpreting it a lot different than
No, but
Jason
it-
Osborne is.
but it would be ridiculous if it went the other way, because what you're saying is that they're gonna mandate us to, we'll say, 1/2 acre lots, anything where there's sewer.
That's right.
Meaning that if someone had a 2 acre lot, you have to subdivide it to a
Oh,
1/2
no,
acre.
no, they're not gonna make you do
Well, how
that.
do they
See,
sell it
that's,
then?
that's what you were saying, and that's what he was clarifying, that it's not.
Okay, that means any new lots,
Any new lots, or if you have one, you can subdivide it down if you want to, but you don't
Right.
have to.
you don't have to.
But
right.
they aren't gonna mandate that you bring that lot size down to that
No,
1/2
because
acre.
they're not gonna steal 250
Yeah,
acres from me.
Right,
That's-
right, so that's what he was saying. Anything else?
Oh, the other bill that came up, looks like it's gonna pass this year, is, HB 675. That's the school's budget restriction. In other words, the way it'll work, if it passes, is the schools, when they write their budgets, can't go, they have to rate the budget on inflation rate average for the last 5 years. The only way they can add anything else is if they have new students write in. If you have 10 new students, in other words, you can take those 10 students and the last 5 years, what it cost the average student cost, add that in. There's a safety valve for those towns and schools that want to just blow their budgets out. If they get 3/5 vote, then they can override the budget cap.
All pending, right?
Yeah, that's pending, but that will probably, that passed the House last year, got kicked to the Finance Committee. Now, the Finance Committee rewrote some of it and sent it back to the House, and it's gonna be voted on January 6th.
Okay.
And by the way, the school deliberative session is gonna be Tuesday, February 3rd this year, which means the town's gonna change theirs.
I don't think that has any relevance to planning, like.
No, but that's right, with all us taxpayers around here.
That's right. Just good information to have. Anybody else have anything? If not, motion to adjourn would be in order.
Motion
To adjourn by Brandon, who was seconded by Mark. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, and we are officially